What's up, everybody? Episode 10 of Sideline Specialists is here. We are talking about Butker doubling down, the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs. Angel Hernandez has finally retired. And we'll go over some fantasy football outlook and some other football things as the episode goes on. And so let's get in to this week's episode.
Welcome to Sideline Specialists.
And we're back. What's going on, Tom? How you doing?
I felt like I was in the middle of a 16-bit indie game right there.
I know, right?
that was a vibe.
It was great vibes.
I'm doing good. I'm in a good mood today. This is I worked this morning, got home, ate a huge ass burger, and was like, I'm making videos. Fuck it.
That's the way to do it, especially when you get a nice meal in there first. That always sets everything up the right way.
Yeah, and I have no one can see it. There's a makeshift cooler under here, also known as 2 blankets and a backpack, and there's beer in there.
Oh, we're having that type of night, guys.
Yeah. It's the Leinenkugel's variety pack, all the shandies. It's freaking good.
Shandies are the best way to go in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know Evil Genius?
Oh, yeah.
Their raspberry shandy that's called You're Killing Me Smalls. Great one. Love that.
That's why I know Evil Genius, because all their beers have the stupidest, best, funniest names.
Oh, yeah. It's the greatest.
All of them.
One of my favorite beers of all time is from them, and it's like a caramel macchiato porter, and it's called New Phone Who Dis.
There you go. We absolutely need them as a sponsor someday.
Oh, 1,000%.
They are a local, so
definitely. I've been to their brewery twice now, I think. It's very nice.
Okay.
It's a great time.
We have some other classics, and you know what? Actually, we'll just this is the perfect one. I wish I had it. I will get it at some point this summer. It's perfect for us. They have a hazy mango IPA called "There's No Crying in Baseball."
Damn right.
And that could not be more perfect.
I actually also have a T-shirt of theirs because they have a beer called Trust the Process.
Yes, sir. Oh my God, they have everything. They have a December beer, the Hazy Orange Creamsicle IPA that's called Playoffs.
Dude, their names are hilarious.
Bro, have you been on their website?
Oh, yeah.
No, but oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Can I share this without we'll probably get in trouble.
Are you talking about their beer list name? Or the beer list page?
The one that's like every beer name ever, and it looks like the Star Wars intro.
Yeah.
Brother, this is so smart. This is the greatest.
Oh, it's amazing.
Hell yeah.
I will say, I was just looking through there because there was a couple that I definitely have had, but I just don't remember all the names, obviously, because there's a lot.
Yeah.
The one that is "You Son of a Bitch, I'm In." That one's a kettle sour with blueberry and raspberry. That one was great. And then there was one more. Sorry, this other one I just have to share because of the name. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Yes. They have fun down at Evil Genius Brewery.
Oh yeah. Here we go. The Sour Patch Kids Sour.
Oh, brother.
The name of the beer is Ermagerd Sir Perch Curds.
Oh
man.
I swear the way this worked is they brewed the beer. The dude who does naming got plastered off the beer.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then named it. And has no memory of it, so they don't have to pay him.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I mean, they have uteruses before deuteruses.
That's the opposite of Harrison Butker's preferred beer.
Exactly. And the award for longest beer name ever goes to this pale saison with peaches aged in oak barrels, which is called Good Morning to Everyone Except Grandpa Joe, who sat in a bed for 20 years and let his family wallow in poverty, but hopped up like a jackass to go to a damn candy factory.
Oh, today I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy a 6-pack of like, holy frick. That's great.
Yeah. Anyone who hasn't had them, I highly suggest. Obviously, one of their more famous beers probably turns people off because it's called Purple Monkey Dishwasher. It's a great beer, though.
Fuck.
That's one of their year-round beers. I highly recommend. But if you're ever in Philly, I very much recommend going. Yeah. The other one, these pretzels are making me thirsty, is a big one for baseball games.
Well, it's huge, just Philadelphia.
Yep.
Like the soft pretzel was like basically invented in Philly the way it is now.
Oh,
but yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure they use Philly soft pretzels in that beer.
Oh yeah. Well, exactly. Well, they always try to source, like if they're doing a special.
Oh yeah.
They always get literally whatever it is, the Philly version. So
they did one with Tasty Cake Crimpets, I believe.
You know what? Okay, Victory tried to do that just like really recently. They did a Tasty Cake one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Oh, it was bad.
Bro, it literally, like, I can't describe that taste to you. Like, you could taste, it was like, you could taste caramel and you could taste like vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also taste like nail polish remover. It was like,
oh,
that was like the aftertaste. So you're like, I don't want to finish it because then that's what's going to be left. And I don't. Yeah, it was really bad. And that sucks because Victory is like by miles my favorite brewery. But they swung hard. They swung hard and they missed on that one. Trust.
I mean, I like Victory. They're just very hit or miss for me. Like outside of a few of the beers, I'm like I hate Golden Monkey, but I love Sour Monkey. It's like that. Like I either hate it or I love it. There's no in between.
I love malty, like malty beers, and triples are like really, that's what they are. And Golden Monkey is like quintessential triple. So I love it. I love all the monkeys though. Like if they had a 48 pack and it had like 6 of all the monkeys, I'd be like, bring it here, my friends.
Oh yeah. I still have Sour Monkeys in the fridge right now. So
do you want to just like start with a quick baseball thing that obviously includes Angel?
Hell yeah. I'm just gonna put it up there right now. Angel Hernandez has fucking retired.
I am gonna bring up this as comedic relief for everybody, and hopefully the volume works. Let's go ahead and share screen. Let's find it. It's 15 seconds. It's a quickie, but this makes me laugh. Just listen to the announcer's commentary and enjoy.
Especially on a team like this.
And the 1-1. Hey. Angel Hernandez is in midseason form.
Yeah. Let's not make this game too fast, Angel.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, God.
He just doesn't ever actually fail to enrage everyone that sees anything he's ever done. Players, announcers, and fans alike.
In the same light, I will share Angel Hernandez's ump scorecard. Now, on this page, I'm only showing the games between 2015 and 2024. I think he started before 2015 because he's been in the league for a while.
He been in the league for a minute.
Yeah. It's definitely been since pretty sure since the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you can see, for those watching on YouTube, these nice little stat plots here in the top, they have his percentile ranks among all the other MLB umpires that have umped games between opening day 2015 to now. There's only 2 of these that he's above the 50th percentile. And in those, he's 66th percentile for runs of favor per game, which I'm not 100% clear what that means. However, he's at 0.5 runs of favor per game. And his impact per call is at 0.13 runs. And they call that his leverage. And he's at 68th percentile there. But if we get to the part where it comes down to calling balls and strikes and outs and so forth, he's in the 27th percentile in accuracy. He has been 91.9% accurate, which, like, in the grand scheme of things, 91.9% doesn't sound terrible. But when you're comparing him to all the other umps that have called games in that time period, and he's 27th percentile, that tells you enough. And then expected accuracy, 27th percentile at 92.3%.
You know what's wild about that, though, is the fact that those two match. It's like not only has he been inaccurate, but he is expected to be inaccurate because he's so consistently shit that this is what is now expected. That's ridiculous.
And my favorite part about that is he's expected to be inaccurate, he is inaccurate, and he's still below expected because he's in the 26th percentile in accuracy above expected, because in reality, he is 0.44% below expected accuracy.
But brother, look at that consistency.
Oh, the consistency is the icing on the cake. Not only is this man inaccurate, but he is inconsistent as fuck. He is in the 13th percentile for consistency amongst these other umpires with a 92.7% consistency, which is just like, I don't even know what else to tell you at that point. I wonder if their umpire section here just has like I guess it doesn't have like a straight up ranking of them all just right away, but there's 86 different umpires have called a game in this season alone.
Yeah.
Just to give people a idea of how many there are. And even here, which is max accuracy in just this season alone, which has only been a few months, not even. Angel Hernandez was at 96.1 max.
And that was his absolute best. Which I'll give him a little credit for 5 seconds here. It's better than some guys.
True. Very true. But we're talking the highest max is Alex Tossi, 99.4% accurate.
But here was the thing I was going to say. It's like that 96.1. Let's see what the next highest is, because I bet that was just a one-off.
Oh yeah, probably.
So,
well, and then
it's a day for baseball fans to celebrate,
yes,
and rejoice that when you go to the ballpark, you will no longer be plagued by Angel Hernandez screwing your team and you wasting your money. So, yeah, this is one of those rare moments in sports where you're like, he retired and fuck off, thanks.
This is one of those rare moments in sports too where everyone agrees.
Yeah.
Like, let's just take Tom Brady, for instance. There's still a lot of debate if he's the GOAT. There's a ton of debate between Michael Jordan and LeBron. There's a ton of debate between, whether who's the GOAT running back, like Barry Sanders or Eric Dickerson or all these guys. There's all this debate. But I haven't seen one post in support of Angel Hernandez. Not a single one.
Because there isn't any reason to support him. It's just like the players hated him, coaches hated him, fans hated him. I'm pretty sure other umpires on his fucking crew hated him because they had to be a part of that. And then obviously, like, the commentators are just trying to call actual baseball, and then this dude's out there just clowning all the time. So it's a very good thing for baseball. And what else is good for baseball is the integration of Negro League statistics. Finally, because to speak on what you just said, it's like there's debates and there's debates. I could argue, and I probably would argue, the best baseball players of all time were probably in the Negro Leagues back when. When you look at the new stats and the new stats leaders, I don't know if you've seen this. I'm gonna try and let me find this, because a man by the name of Josh Gibson.
Oh, I think I've heard about this.
Yeah, so he lived from December 21st, 1911 to January 20th, 1947. He played for the D.C. Grays in Washington. So, I'm just going to read these numbers off, and you will understand. He had a career WAR of 38.1, a batting average over his whole career of 373, on-base percentage of 458, slugging of 718, and an OPS of 1176. And if you go to MLB stat leaders all time, those are all first.
Shit.
All of them. So, it is quite literally unbelievable. He did not play as many games as a lot of people, and that is what will be like a knock against him a little bit. But he was just otherworldly. And this is the craziest stat that I will, let me see here. These are quite literally batting stats. Am I high? No, I'm not. Got it. So, you got to remember, back in the day, strikeouts were more rare, to be fair.
Right.
However, when you play 653 games with 2,255 at-bats and you only strike out 11 times, come on, bro.
That's just insanity.
Come on, bro.
That is absolute insanity.
Yeah. So, my hat's off for this finally happening. The truth is, if humanity had any decency at any point throughout its history, there never would have been a need for two different leagues, because segregation would not have ever happened. But guys like Josh Gibson, definitely pioneers. Satchel Paige, one of the greatest pitchers to ever walk the face of the earth. Just, it's about time. It's one of those things that literally just feels nice. It feels really good, because they've always belonged. Always.
Exactly. This should have been a thing from the beginning. And
yeah.
My other thing too is, like, I think it should be a thing in, like, if you go back to all sports, like even in the NBA, like ABA stats should be included. Absolutely. I understand it was a different league, but the leagues separated because of the brand of basketball and everything, and the style that people didn't agree with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you even look at, like, there you brought up Josh Gibson, and then Satchel Paige, third in single season ERA. Buck Leonard, fifth in career on base percentage. Oscar Charleston, third all time in career average.
Yep.
That's just 4 of these guys.
Yeah.
Like,
and when you look up old tape, old film, it's just you can see it. You know what I mean? And it's like,
right.
The one of the things that happened to Satchel, which he turned into a good thing. I don't know if you knew about this. I think it was like 1959. The Oakland Athletics decided, let's sign him. He was like old then. He was like, maybe he was 59. Like he was old. Like he was legit old. Like shouldn't be touching anything. Comes out, strikes out 6 people in the first 3 innings. They signed him as a gimmick, and he was like, I'm not a gimmick. And he went out there and just looked good again. It was just like, all right.
That's amazing.
I know. I was just the biggest, like, silent fuck you through a performance. I was just like, hats off, man, because that's awesome.
Speaking of the Oakland A's, so we went to Oakland this past weekend, and I said to Deanna how like all of Oakland's professional teams were moving out of the city. I was like, the baseball team's moving too, and she was like, well, where are they going? Because San Fran has one, and I was like, oh, they're talking about Las Vegas and so on and so forth. And she was like, what's their name? I was like, the Athletics. She was like, that's a stupid name.
They're one of the oldest franchises in all of baseball too.
I know. And I was like, yeah, you know, they're like, oh, the team full of athletes. Let's call them the Athletics.
Well, I mean, literally, let's I'm going to do a 2-second bit of research here. If Wikipedia's page of it, here we go, because this will just have the year of their formation. Ah, yes. The Oakland Athletics, formerly known as the Philadelphia Athletics, as we all know, established in 1901.
Jesus.
They can say this, that they have won 9 World Series, 15 pennants, and 17 West Division titles. Like,
when's the last World Series that they won?
That would be 1989.
Yikes.
They were in one in 2. Hold on. Let's see. Pennants. Whatever the Earthquake series was, if you remember that.
Oh, I do faintly remember that. Yeah.
It was 89. Yeah, that was the Earthquake series, because it was. I know it was against the Giants too, which is why it was a big deal, because it was like literally the Bay Area just playing each other. So
yeah, literally just walking across the bridge.
Yeah, and then that bridge got destroyed by said earthquake. So they were like, "Oh fuck." This is just like one of those crazy things that happens in sports, though. Like, some cities are right, some are wrong. I'm not going to say Oakland's wrong because of the fans. I'm going to say the owners are at fault here.
Yeah,
I think that's been crystal clear.
I think the owners, I think the whole local government, a lot of things are going wrong with Oakland. Like, that was the first time I've ever been to Oakland, and the city's not great. Like, it's very run down. A lot of things are closed. And I remember living in Pittsburgh, like, things downtown would close around like 9 p.m. because Pittsburgh didn't have any housing like actually downtown. So all that shit would close by the time everyone from the businesses went home. And we were out in Oakland, and I remember like looking up like, oh, let's go to dinner here, whatever, because we just flew in. And it was like, oh, this restaurant closes at 9. And I'm like, since when does a restaurant that serves dinner close at 9? And it opened at 5. So I'm like, your restaurant survives off of being open 4 hours a day?
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of the places were like. So it's all a bad situation, and I feel bad for the people who live there and for the fans.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
But before we move on to our next topic, I did want to say I just did like a quick like look of the percentage of Josh Gibson's strikeout percentage, and it's 0.005.
Yep.
Which is insane. And then we will leave everybody with this little treat.
Yes.
Let's low it in. Ball. Oh, they said he went around. Uh-oh. He's going to be out of this game if he keeps this up. He is out of this game. I got to tell you, naked eye, he did not swing at that.
Yeah, but Angel Hernandez's naked eyes can't see literally, you could fucking give him the light of God to see himself in the mirror in front of him, and he would not see himself. It's like, come on.
Man wants to play.
Oh, God.
Bro, that ball almost touched dirt.
It really did.
Holy fuck, man. It's just the greatest day ever to see this fucking brickhead out of here.
Oh, God.
Yeah, dude got Dumbo's ears, but his eyes got neglected. That's unfortunate.
For those listening and not watching, the first one was the call against Bryce Harper, and the second one was against Wrecker of the Mets. And yeah, both very bad. But anyway, let's move on. I'm going to let you take over now with the NHL playoffs, and I can share the bracket here as well.
Please
for
do.
those watching on YouTube.
Oh,
We got some good conference finals in this one.
yes, sir. This is going to be a fun transition to go from NHL to NBA because it's literally like polar opposites, but
Pretty much.
so I'll give full credit to Edmonton. The jokes were being made in that second round. Like, Dallas was clearly going to beat Colorado, and the other series between Vancouver and Edmonton was basically everybody was just saying, all right, let's compete to see who's going to lose to Dallas. Like, that's all everybody thought. Edmonton, last night's game was pretty much perfect. I'm not going to lie. They were down 2-0. They scored 5 straight to tie the series. It shifts back to Dallas now for game 5, so we will have to see if Edmonton can grab hold of the momentum and actually make something happen with it. I think Dallas is the better team, but I think Edmonton has obviously that handful of players that are just like special. Obviously McDavid is pretty much the best player on earth, but his buddy Leon Draisaitl has been definitely outperforming him these playoffs thus far. So it will be interesting to see who steps up for either team in that series. And then the Florida Rangers series, man, these two teams absolutely fucking hate each other.
I love when teams are like that in the playoffs. Like the
This
Knicks
is like-
Sixers was great.
No, this is like there was an incident last night, or the last game that they played 2 nights ago. Obviously their puck dropped. Their puck might have just dropped about 2 minutes ago, so I might put that on. But Matthew Tkachuk, very famous for always having a mouthpiece out of his mouth, a la like Steph Curry. And Vincent Trocheck, who has been a playoff hero thus far for the Rangers, decided to just grab it out of his mouth and throw it. And then post-game, Tkachuk goes, well, that was the best play he made all night, though, so we get the win, he gets to cry. It's just, I'm loving this shit. They're being physical, 60 minutes of the game, and it's just like, literally every single game you put on, you actually don't know who's going to win. You don't. Absolutely no idea, because they are just on even level ground.
Right.
Have very similar depth. Goaltending has been like, one game it looks great for one team, next game it looks like great for the other team. So I'm definitely curious to see how tonight goes. It should be in Florida, I think. The Rangers won the President's Trophy, right? I need to remind myself here. No, it is in New York. That is correct. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So the Rangers were ahead of them in the standings by probably like what my dad would say, a pussy hair. But yeah, I'm stoked. It's been super fun. This is what the playoffs in the NHL is supposed to be. It is actually very rare that a year of NHL playoffs turns out with like teams in the conference finals that really don't belong.
I got you.
But like it's occasional. This year, all 4 of these teams definitely do. Edmonton earned the hell out of their trip to this conference final.
I was going to say, all 4 teams have looked fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the Rangers, obviously nobody has really been doubting the Rangers at all. Florida has come in. Florida was the 1 seed?
So the Rangers were the 1 overall.
Rangers were 1.
And then Florida would have been the overall 2.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was checking, because I think it was literally down to like the last 2 games for the President's Trophy race, which is the overall points leader in all of hockey.
I see.
The Rangers won that with 2 games left in the entire season. Like, that's how close it was.
Damn.
But once they clinched it, they have home ice for the whole shebang. And then Florida won their division and got that 1 seed. Basically, like, they were always going to have home for the first 2.
Right. Okay.
And the only team that could take home ice from them was the Rangers, and the Rangers obviously made pretty easy work of Washington. They went up 3-0 on Carolina and then gave Carolina some hope and then really ripped it away in that game 6.
Yeah, seriously.
That was
I remember seeing the highlights of that one.
That was shocking, but I'm loving it. If I have to make, I'm just like updating my prediction every time we do this. At the moment, I think I would still pick a team from the East, to be honest. Because I think, here's the truth, I think Dallas should not be struggling this hard with Edmonton. I think Edmonton is just playing like with everything they have, which is what you should be doing, but they're doing it to a level that's just like visible.
Right. Like a not sustainable level.
Exactly. Like, I think literally both Florida and the Rangers, their level of physicality is different than what Dallas is offering up to Edmonton right now. And that will absolutely play a part. And then I kind of want Florida. I want Florida to win the cup because I think they deserve one as a franchise.
Right.
So I would love to see a Florida Dallas Stanley Cup final. I think it would be incredibly good. Like,
that
probably,
would be awesome.
Yeah, I think probably like guaranteed 7 games, but
I mean, anything that is more competitive than what the NBA playoffs have been.
And we will use that as a transition.
Yes.
Let's do it.
So moving right into the NBA playoffs, as I said, hopefully a lot more competitive in NHL. I mean, has been so far, but hopefully the finals are more competitive as well. Yeah, we got since our last episode, I think the conference finals were already set in our last episode, and it was we were talking about Mavericks and Timberwolves, and we thought that this series would kind of go a little bit further than it really has. I definitely didn't think either team would jump out to a 3-0 lead the way that Dallas did. And then Celtics Pacers, we both kind of expected it to be. Well, we said there was hope that the Pacers could win. However, that was before Tyrese Halliburton got injured. And we both knew it most likely wasn't going to be that close. And even though the Celtics had some issues, and the last 2 games, probably even last 3, came down to the wire a bit there, and the Pacers almost snuck away with a win or 2. It sucks just that, like, the East as a whole was so injured. I mean, even the Celtics, just because they have crazy depth, it's not showing as much just yet. But Porzingis has been hurt this whole time, other than the first round. And then when they went up against Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell got hurt, Jared Allen got hurt. In the Bucks, the Giannis was hurt, Damian Lillard got hurt. The Pacers, like we said, Halliburton was hurt. Benedict Mathurin, who was one of their top guys, their top scorers, he was hurt this whole time. The Knicks, Jalen Brunson ended up getting hurt at the end of that series and broke his hand. but you also had Julius Randle hurt. Mitchell Robinson was hurt. And then with the Sixers, Embiid on one leg. Like this whole Anthony Melton hurt, and he's a big part of that team and was a starter. So like that's literally the entire East other than the Orlando Magic. And the only reason Orlando didn't get through, they put up a great fight against Cleveland, but Donovan Mitchell didn't get hurt just yet.
Yeah.
And that's like the only reason Orlando didn't advance.
It's been brutal, especially like this, just talking about like the conference finals. It was like the Celtics, even when the games were tight, they never looked like they were going to lose. If you know what I mean by that. Like,
yep.
They do have a really strong faith in their abilities. It's not even just like talent. Like they have belief in themselves, which is, you know what I mean? Like going against that's very tough. And then the Mavericks T-Will, like those first two games, bro, were like coin flips. And they both went to the Mavs. And then the Mavs made game 3 look a lot easier. But it's just crazy to think about, right? Like one of those two games goes different. It's a best of 3 now.
Yeah.
But now it's literally Minnesota can't lose again or they get to watch. So
exactly. And like, even though the series looks like it's not that competitive, the series has been amazing to watch. It's been super fun. Yeah. And like seeing Luka versus Anthony Edwards and seeing Kyrie kind of like rise back in like good spirits to everybody after all the flat earth and anti-Semitism and all that stuff that he threw out there onto everyone. It's kind of like we're seeing him kind of resurge into the better light. And then on top of that, you're seeing a lot of good guys on the Mavs side that like just didn't get either the press or their young guys. Like Lively, a very good rookie big man.
Gafford stepped up. Like
Gafford, he wasn't getting any attention because he was on the Wizards. Comes over and he's been Siberia. Great. Yeah, exactly. The Wizards are literally like the Wizards get less TV time than a random penguin in Antarctica.
Exactly. Like it's like a shame too, because that is kind of the beauty of team sports, right? Is it's like you have stars and stars are great. They'll put asses in seats, but what gets you wins is everybody else that you put around the stars. So if you don't have those pieces, your puzzle's fucked and you're not actually going to win anything. The Mavs are like, they're finding success because these guys that some you might expect, but a lot of guys you wouldn't, are making things happen. Like, how about Derek Jones Jr. getting to actually be in rotation and play meaningful minutes in games that mean everything? That's awesome. Because he was on like bad Heat teams like before they started playing well, and he's bounced around like crazy. PJ Washington, like
PJ Washington has been huge for them.
Yeah, and it's like you go to his stats sheet and you're like, well, why don't we really know him? Because he played for fucking Charlotte, and the only person you know on Charlotte's LaMelo, and he's hurt every year, so you don't know Charlotte. Like that. Well, that being said, their rookie this year was
Brandon Miller.
He's great.
Yeah,
great step in a good. Yeah, like great step in a good direction, but that's why I've enjoyed watching the Mavs. It's because like everybody on earth knows who Luka and Kyrie are, but when you really love sports and you watch and you like analyze, even like for us, we analyze without wanting to. Like it's just how we view sports.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's been a great time. And then like Minnesota, it's so annoying because I think the Timberwolves are the better team, but this is why the playoffs happen. Because you know what I mean? It's just step up at the right time, and the Mavs have stepped up a little higher.
I think it's a classic tale of like better offense meets better defense.
Yeah.
And it's just like when the offense is as good as it is, when you have Luka and Kyrie, sometimes the better defense isn't enough. And when it comes to the offensive side of things, like, yeah, Minnesota gets some very good contributions outside of Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. But if those guys aren't consistently giving that, then they're dead in the water.
Yeah.
So, and like we were just saying about guys that like coming up that you, like the average fan might not know. I love the fact that Naz Reid is getting some airtime. Mike Conley is like coming back into like the, I don't want to say the spotlight, but at least coming back into favor, because Mike Conley was looked at as one of the top point guards in the league when he was in his prime in Memphis.
Yeah.
Like,
and he got
Conley,
that contract that was at the time, I believe, the biggest ever.
Yeah.
And even that was viewed with this weird skepticism, but it was like, it had to happen eventually. And he was as good as that contract when he got it. Like, it made sense. And then obviously injuries, and then ended up not on competitive teams. You don't see him as much in any kind of positive light.
Right.
But now he gets to be here in kind of like a Rondo on the Lakers role, where you see what made him great, and now he gets to do it as a compliment instead of the dude getting like looked at by everybody. And he's just the guy who's going to be able to like hold everybody in check mentally, because he's been in the league so long.
Exactly.
You can lean on him to get you through emotions. And he's always been that for locker rooms, but
for sure.
It's tough because I wanted that series in particular. Like if the T-Wolves win tonight, I'll be like, okay, hell yeah, there's some drama here.
Right.
But it's like, you look at the NBA, no team ever has come back from down 3-0 in the NBA. It's only happened 4 times in hockey, and it's only happened like once or twice in baseball.
Something like that, yeah.
Like I think the Red Sox were quite literally the first to do it ever in 2004.
I think so.
And it was just poetic because it was the Yankees that they beat. So,
right. And
it's just this. It's a unicorn of a thing, and it's rarer than a unicorn. So,
right. And I'll just kind of wrap up the NBA topic by saying, I like these playoffs this year because we're not seeing the stupid ass 3 superstar big 3 teams dominating the postseason and getting to the finals all over again. Now the Celtics, like, I still don't technically count them as a big 3, because to me their stars are Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Porzingis could have been a star at one point, but he's way too hurt and way too inconsistent for me to consider him like a superstar or a star.
No, I
very
agree
good,
completely.
Yeah, very good starter and everything, but that's neither here nor there. The Pacers, your really only star is Halliburton. Like, the Knicks, even if Julius Randle did play, it would have been Brunson and Randle. And then, like, the Cavs, you really just have Mitchell and Garland. The Mavs, you have Luka and Kyrie. Timberwolves' offensive superstar is really just Anthony Edwards. Yeah. So it's cool to see, like, actual full teams prevailing again instead of the big 3 with, like, older guys that used to be superstars that are now just role players.
If you want to watch the hockey, I know it's really small, but there it is.
Oh, nice.
But like, I agree, because it's that. How frustrating was it from like 2011, right?
Yeah.
You had the Heat. You had the Heat in every championship, like, or in every finals.
Yep.
And you were always excited as hell. Like when the Mavs beat him, I lost my mind because it's like Dirk got his goddamn ring. Like, you couldn't have given me enough money to cheer against Dirk.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It was just not happening. And then
San Antonio got their revenge on him.
My dad grew up a Spurs, he didn't like grow up a Spurs fan, but when they got Tim Duncan, he became a Spurs fan.
I got you.
Like, he liked David Robinson, he liked the Admiral, and then they got Tim Duncan, and he was just like, this is what basketball is supposed to look like. So anytime the Spurs would be on national TV, he'd always watch. So I always watched, and I remember where I was too. I was actually in Virginia at a camp when that finals was going on and got to see them get revenge and was just like, let's go.
That was amazing. But
Yeah.
then it shifted from the Heat to then the Cavs because they just brought pretty much the whole team to the Cavs.
Yep.
And then Golden State,
Yep.
especially when Kevin Durant got there.
Yeah.
And so it just like it really became, I don't want to say boring because like once it did get to the final series between like Cleveland and Golden State, those are some historic final series. But the rest of the postseason was just like, all right, you might as well just fast forward because we know who's getting to the finals.
And that's why it's so painful, right? It's like when you get to the playoffs, it should literally be this thing that everybody wants to watch because you don't know what is going to happen. Right. And that's why the NHL playoffs always seem to pay off because it's not the same 5 guys on like the ice for the game.
Right.
It's a deep team with set lines and different matchups and pairings and things, and they're on the ice for a minute and a half and then they're off it for a little bit. Like, so in full games, things play out a certain way. In the NBA, it's like if you have 3 players that are like top 25 players in the league and they're going to be playing 40 plus minutes in the playoffs, like, guess what? You probably won't beat them because that's just a recipe that worked for like a decade. It worked for literally like a decade. So
yeah,
it was Moneyball though. It's like, I don't want to watch Moneyball. I want to watch basketball. And
exactly.
And we needed to actually be that again. So
agreed. And we'll finish the basketball segment by saying rest in peace, Bill Walton. That was a big one. So
absolutely.
Rest in peace to him as well. And prayers out to the family. With that being said, I wanted to touch on real quick before we get into our football topics. We did talk about how we mention esports every now and again. And one of those esports that I watch all the time is the Call of Duty League. And Optic, in the Call of Duty League, Optic Texas, they finally won their first major without Scump, but also their first major in 805 days.
Yes, sir.
Huge win for them. I mean, this team that they have right now is probably one of the best they've had in a long time. Shotzi is probably one of my favorite people to watch in this league. This man is just insane. For those who don't watch esports, they talk about like movement in the game and how you can manipulate every part of the map and everything like that. And he is literally one of the best, if not the best, to do it in terms of movement. And I like watching Shotzi has just been incredibly entertaining. And it's crazy to me because I got into Call of Duty and esports and stuff because of Optic in general. But also, I saw Scump from like very early beginnings. I used to participate and compete in like game battles tournaments and local tournaments and stuff in Call of Duty 4 and Black Ops 1. And I was okay, but I remember playing against Scump in one of the tournaments and just being like how Brian Scalabrine said that he's closer to LeBron than like a normal fan.
Well, than a normal fan is to him.
Yeah.
And then he proceeded to absolutely demolish all of the people that went against him. Just like, he told you.
Right. That's how I felt with Scump. Like, I normally beat like every person I knew. I would destroy people online that just like were casual players, whatever. And then I felt like I couldn't stay alive for more than 5 seconds when I played against Scump. It was insane. And this guy is up there. I mean, like Scump himself has talked about how good Shotzi is and how big of a player he is. And he won MVP for Major 3. The for those watching on YouTube, it does have all of his KDs here on the championship Sunday. And other than that one bad like 3-map series against New York, he just started going off. They finally beat FaZe. They've had this big block against FaZe this season. They I mean, just steamrolled Toronto in the grand final, just swept them 4-0 in the grand final. And it honestly didn't even look like Toronto had a chance. And he now has the most 100 plus kill series this season with 5 of them. And 2 of them were back to back on this championship Sunday.
Yeah.
So honestly, just ridiculous. And the last thing I just wanted to share was this little video that they had here. And let me bring that up. I think it's Shotzi just talking about like winning without scump, which obviously has been huge for them.
805 days, just it definitely teaches you a lot because of the fact that like you don't understand how much it truly takes to win until you finally win. The practice leading up to this entire major 1, major 2, major 3, like I felt like you win in your guys' practice. Like you don't win in the tournament. It sounds cliche, but the winning moments is always going to be in the practice because that's how you build off your game plan. You just build off the entire practice, and that's one thing that we did leading up to this event, and I felt like that's one thing that made us win this event. We prioritize our map pool, and look what we did in grand final. 805 days.
Yeah. And it's cool because, I mean, this kid used to be like just the younger, I mean, for lack of a better word, just very immature about the game and everything. And now he's like the leader of the team. So big ups to Optic.
Hold on. I need to look up League of Legends. I need to look up their worlds. I don't know what the dates are, but I will do something in this vein probably.
For which game? Sorry,
League of Legends.
Oh yeah. League of Legends is crazy. I tried to play League of Legends for like a few months in college, and I just did not have the patience.
I have probably no bullshit 5,000 hours in that game.
Damn.
I played it in beta in 2010. Like, it seemed intriguing to me, and I just stuck with it for years and years and years. Don't play it as much now, but I always watch the esports because it's just special. And like the prize pools they're still the biggest in the world. And it's like not close. But the hype videos that they make sometimes are just like cinema, genuine cinema. Because there's guys who've played for so long that they're literally like viewed as gods of this. And the biggest of all of them, his name is Faker.
Faker's the one I always know about.
Yeah, but well, here was the big deal, right? Is they won last year.
Right.
After like, I think it was like 6-7 years between him winning and the hype video. I'll see if I can find literally the clip because it's so unbelievably god tier. Yeah, I'm gonna put this on. It's 1 minute, and I have to because it's just in my brain right now, and I'm not gonna be able to stop thinking about it. So you can just read the title at the bottom. Faker says all roads lead to me, and it's just there he is. I need subtitles. We need subtitles. They're unavailable. Why would you be unavailable? It's not in English. What do you mean? I'll paraphrase. So in esports, in League of Legends and in Korean esports, they'll have something that's called a Royal Rotor, which is this team that is either like newly formed or extremely young, or like an individual can be this too.
Mm-hmm.
And in their first year or rookie year, they win everything. And there's multiple tournaments. So to be like a Royal Rotor, you have to win them all. Okay. Like, and this can happen in StarCraft. Like, that was the biggest esport on Earth for a long time. And then League of Legends took it over. And then obviously FPS games and everything. So the team that Faker's team was going to play in last year's finals let me go ahead and confirm this here real quick. So T1 is the team Faker is on. And I believe they beat, Weibo Gaming, which was, it's a new team. But it had players that Faker had played against before and had beaten Faker before. And in this video, he just goes, they show the Weibo guy saying, "Oh, we're going to be Royal Roaders," and then Faker just walks up on this stage, sits on a throne, and goes, "Remember, all roads lead to me." And it was just like, bro. The video got like 10 million views. The video literally got like 10 million views in like 9 hours. Like it was just, I have to find that clip with like subtitles because it is so good.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, like the best thing I've ever seen. All right, this guy's doing a reaction to it, but let me see if I can actually just find this spot.
I just want to say that for those that might not know, Faker is a 4-time world champion, 1-time world's MVP, 2-time midseason invitational champion, 1-time midseason MVP, 10-time League of Legends Korean champion, 2-time season MVP, 1 finals MVP, 2-time first All-Pro, 2-time second All-Pro, 1 third All-Pro, last year's Player of the Year and last year's Mid Laner of the Year. Also has an Intel Extreme Masters Championship, Rift Rivals Championship, All-Star Invitational Championship, and NLB Championship.
So this is the guy, this is Ruler
이끄는 대로 최선을
on the
높은
opposing
수
team.
있다고 생각합니다.
Okay.
그들의 앞엔 아직 넘어서야 할 산이 있습니다.
This video just gives me chills every time. I've watched this so many times. Our road is inevitable.
룰러 선수 잊지 말아야 할 겁니다. 모든 길은 결국 저를 통합니다.
Bro. That is so cold.
Like if anyone did that in America and they were in the finals, like people would get a boner.
Yeah. No, it would be like For League of Legends, like it's the biggest esport that's ever existed in history. And it legitimately isn't close. Like if you look at the most played games ever for one game, and you can't like combine all the Call of Duty titles.
Right.
It's far and away. And then you look at that's why the prize pools are what they are, the audiences are what they are. Like the highest peak viewers on a world championship of League of Legends worldwide was 300 million. 300.
Insane.
Like the Stanley Cup Finals game tonight will get 6.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
Which I'm not going to get too far into it now because we still have to talk about football, but
yes,
it's part of the reason why I think Call of Duty esports is never going to be as big, because if you change the game every single year, like it's harder to get into every year because people finally start to just like, nah, I'm not going to get this year's Call of Duty. I don't care about this year. I don't care about this year. Like if you just stuck to a game and gave it, updates, whatever, you have a bigger potential to build a fan base like that because everyone can join in on that game.
Well, and literally on top of that, the other thing too with a game that lasts this long is the skill gaps actually have time to develop.
Right.
And then on top of that, like metas change, especially in League. Like there's champions that are good and they get nerfed, or there's champions that are bad that they get buffed. So the whole meta and dynamic of the game changes. It's a 14-year-old game that's still at its absolute peak, and it just isn't falling because they keep changing it, adding to it, and trying to evolve it.
Right.
And that's the beauty of esports, though. That's why we love it, because it's one of those that's always there to like rely on.
Right.
It's like there's no like physical sports on tonight. Let's pretend this isn't here. I'm going to go see what tournaments are playing. Like, that's
exactly.
I love just competition in general.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. So with that being said, we're going to do this one pretty quickly because there's not really much that needs to be said about him anymore. But Harrison Butker apparently doubled down. But I will also say, I just saw a news story that came out 4 hours ago, at least on Yahoo Sports, to say the Chiefs' Harrison Butker may be removed from kickoffs due to new NFL rules.
Yeah, so they're like, we're gonna put
win.
Justin Reed in there, who's a safety,
right?
Which is really funny. Did they just not want him to die? I don't. Is that? I don't know. It's like this is what this has done is create an opportunity for other players to speak up, and it becomes clear who's a fan of who, and it makes it easier for you as a person to choose who you want to be a fan of. Obviously, for some reason, somebody decided to have a go at Jason Kelsey, saying something about Kylie, and he shut that down pretty quick.
Right.
And then Jalen Hurts went at this like Advocates for Women event that they were hosting, the Women's Football Festival. Happened. It's May 19th. It happened literally like right after that speech. He said, let me see, women are thrusted into positions to have to overcome this, overcome that, and they lack the respect that they deserve. I'm here advocating for it, not only in football, but in every situation. We all know the woman is the rock of everything. And I was like, that's my QB right there, boys.
True that.
So
I will say
it's just not great PR, right? Because the Chiefs, if he was on any other team, I think it would be viewed badly, but the fact that the Chiefs have had such a spotlight on them this offseason because of all the off-field shit that just keeps happening.
Oh, yeah.
And he's also a Chief. It's just like, dude, they didn't need more negative press, man.
And on top of it, you're making all these comments for a team that not only has the spotlight, but got a big spotlight because of Taylor Swift.
Yep, who is definitely not a homemaker, Sunshine.
Exactly.
Trust me.
She makes like 100 times the amount of Travis Kelce.
She'll buy she'll buy all your shit. She'll buy all your relatives' shit. She'll own you in 5 seconds. Calm down. Like it's just it's insane to me. It's such a literal like 1770s comment.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I'm like, what? I'm just confused. Yeah. I'm just like actually confused because it's like, where did this come from?
And when we talk about the doubling down, it's because he said, if it wasn't clear that timeless Catholic values are hated by many, it is now. And
there's a reason the Catholic views are hated by many, but I don't want to go deep in religion right now.
Yeah, me neither. He also was apparently shocked at many people expressing the level of hate that they were.
Well, I'll go ahead and tie that right into the Catholic views being very different. So,
but also, I just want to say, like, there was a news story that, like, the Sisters of Benedictine College even did not agree with it. And they are the nuns that teach and help with the college that he made the speech at.
Yeah. Because it's like things aren't like everything needs to evolve, right? I'll just like do a quick everything needs to evolve. Religion needs to evolve. People's mindsets need to evolve. And I like it doesn't matter if you're a nun. It's like you chose that because you believed in your religion that you had a calling to do that to help a community or a group of people. And I will respect and appreciate that always. But then to just generically say women are homemakers, go do that. It was just out of left field. And it's just uncalled and act like it wasn't going to offend people. And I know
right.
being offended is subjective, and whether you care or not, that's fine. But it's just, where did it come from? How long have you thought that? Why are you voicing it at a college commencement speech?
Right.
Like, that's where this is coming out. Maybe even, like, venue is the biggest problem, because it's like, you could have just, like, said this shit on your Twitter and let it ride.
Right.
But to then, like, embarrass the people that invited you to do that, like, they didn't deserve to feel all sorts of uncomfortable that you were doing that with the, like, platform they gave you to speak to their students and whoever. It's just, it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I don't really care to talk about him anymore because he's just not worth it.
Yeah. Like, what position do you play?
Exactly. And they're already
And...
so the news article about him being removed from kickoffs was saying that in the XFL, the kicker was 25 to 40% of the time part of the coverage and actually making a tackle. So they wanted Reed. They wanted Reed because of his knowledge as a safety and being able to make a play more than their returner being able to just run directly at a kicker.
I just like the timing. I think they just don't want him to get rocked by somebody who thinks he's a dick, but...
Probably.
Yeah.
So anyway, with that being said, we're going to move on here to Fantasy Football Outlook post-draft. So this is something that I've been looking at a lot here because for those who don't know, I do write for rotoballer.com. They are a fantasy sports site. They have literally every sport on there. Mostly I started with basketball, but the last couple seasons I've been doing fantasy football and have helped out on some of the player outlooks, and I write a lot of the player news and so on and so forth. And so dynasty leagues are something that I've gotten very much into. They have been some of my favorite things to play because it's just a completely different way of playing fantasy football. It actually makes you feel like a GM, which is cool. And you can trade all your picks. You can do that kind of stuff. So I will say from a dynasty perspective, now, whether you're in a super flex league or a one quarterback league, Caleb Williams, obviously a huge, huge rookie for any dynasty rookie draft. If you're in a one quarterback, obviously he's going a little bit later because the other guys have a bit more value. But to me, the rookies this year is just such a deeper rookie draft than years past because right off the bat, you have the big three wide receivers in Harrison, Odunze, and Neighbors. You have Brock Bowers, supposed to be one of the best tight ends to come through the draft in a very long time.
He's
Caleb
supposed and he's like projected to be literally like at least a top 12 tight end as a rookie. Like, so
right.
Like he's just going to fit in because he's gifted.
Exactly.
Like you want that early and jump all over it.
And tight ends these days are a lot harder to come by. Ones that actually contribute to winning fantasy matchups because like outside of the top 5, the rest of them are just very inconsistent in all of their offenses. And we haven't seen a rookie tight end really do much until Sam Laporta last year.
Exactly.
And Bowers is supposed to be even better than that. So,
and Laporta was like, just if you need a reminder, just go look up his shit. I mean, he was unreal, winning games for the Lions all year long. But yeah, I agree because it was like the days of Gronk, Heath Miller, Witten, like these guys that were just literally every single week we're gonna give you something.
Right.
That's gone, and like even now, it's like. You have Mark Andrews when healthy. He if he is healthy, he will give you what you need. Travis Kelce will usually give you that. There's occasional matchups where they just key him like the whole game, but
right.
Like Dallas Goedert for the Eagles, but he has to be in the game plan because they're receiving core is so loaded. It's just like, it's tough. And I agree with that. Tight end is probably the toughest offensive position to nail.
Right.
Because, like, you want a game changer, but the odds are super against you.
Exactly. And just to give you for those that like might not be as deep into fantasy football, just to give you an idea, at Rotoballer, one of our guys, Nick Mariano, who has been rated as the top 10 most accurate industry ranker since 2017, has the number one tight end as Sam Laporta going into this season, and he is 21st overall of any position.
Yeah.
Going into and that's before, like, the number one quarterback he has is Josh Allen, who's one rank below Laporta, which says a lot because quarterbacks are normally the highest scorers and the most consistent.
Yeah.
And like, you look at the top, let's just take the top 5 for example: McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like,
yeah,
those are the type of guys that are up there, and then you have Sam Laporta. So if Brock Bowers is coming in now, the only shaky thing with him is we don't know how well he's going to do with the quarterback situation. Minshew can get him the ball, but how often can he get him the ball? How efficiently can he get him the ball? So on and so forth. But kind of shifting away from Dynasty, though, because that's still gaining popularity, still a little niche right now. However, we've seen some wide receiver groups in redraft leagues. We're just talking normal fantasy football redraft. We have seen some wide receiver trios kind of take a hit just because they added more pass catchers. And like, if you look at Chicago, DJ Moore had a ridiculous target share last year because
and
he was the guy.
Gone now. That's gone.
Exactly.
And we know it's gone. Like
DJ Moore was the guy.
And it's like you pre-draft or whatever, you get Keenan Allen, and then you also take Rome Odunze. It's like, will DJ Moore still compete every single week and be a player that you'd probably want to at least have on your bench for like a bye or something? Yes, because he's extremely reliable, because he's a fundamentally sound football player that plays the same way every game.
Right.
That's great. But the big play threat now on the outside from both of the new guys is just going to rip that in half. So,
yep.
But I want to say this too, because I have that list open, the Mariano one.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few surprises on here that are very high. I will say this loudly right now.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Breece Hall at 6. That is the riskiest one in the top 10 by a mile, because that dude hasn't been healthy for a long time. So
here's my favorite thing though about fantasy football is because in like all of our heads, we're thinking like, obviously normal football, the Jets suck. Breece Hall hasn't been healthy, so on and so forth. But if I remember correctly, last year he finished as I'm pretty sure he finished as a top 5 fantasy running back last season.
Because when he was playing, right? Like last year I think he played 17 games.
Mm-hmm.
But it started with him I remember an article, him being like mad because he wasn't getting used or whatever. And then they signed Dalvin Cook and he was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yep.
And I remember that. It's like, don't disgruntle this dude. Because I remember, like, he came out of Iowa State, and I was like, this dude he's so good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's so good. Like, you watch him, and you're just like, holy shit, I want that guy. No problem with that. I think literally, but here's the truth, right? If he is healthy every game, which, like, cool, and they use him how he deserves to be used.
Yes.
He could absolutely be number 6. Like, he could be better than number 6.
Right.
But I'm worried for that because this is now going to be, if Aaron Rodgers is in fact healthy all season, are they going to use him as much as you would want to see him used? And I don't know, but that's probably, you know what, actually, I'll flip it all over. That's probably why he's number 6, because your boy is not expecting Aaron Rodgers to do shit. And that's fair. And I'll actually say that that's fair, because there is potential for that. So Jonathan Taylor at 10 is another one. I want to see him stay healthy with our boy Anthony Richardson.
For sure.
Because that duo needs to happen for real.
1,000%. Before you hit your next one, I just want to say Breece Hall last season in half PPR leagues was the number 4 running back, and in PPR leagues was number 2. Mainly
so
because
he was behind McCaffrey in PPR, and that's it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was mainly because he had 994 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. But he had 76 receptions for 591 yards and 4 touchdowns through the air.
Which let's give him his flowers for that. Is a ridiculous amount of catches for a running back.
Ridiculous.
Like genuinely all caps, ridiculous.
Especially when you look at, last season, Christian McCaffrey was number 1 in both half PPR and PPR. He had 67 receptions. So he had fewer receptions than Breece Hall. Yeah. The big difference is just the fact that McCaffrey had 1,459 rushing yards and 14 rushing touchdowns, along with 7 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah. I like this list a lot, though. I do, because it actually makes things fun. Like, I like seeing Kyron Williams at 14.
Oh, yeah.
That one I'm kind of like, I think he's amazing, but then they go out and basically draft his carbon copy clone and Blake Corum, and it was just like, why? Right. Like Garrett Wilson, but Garrett Wilson is like 100% subject to who the fuck the quarterback is. He'll make plays for you every game, even if the QB sucks, because he's that good. But obviously, if the throws are accurate and he's getting a big share, then that goes up infinitely.
I will say
this is a fun list.
I will say Bijan Robinson in the top 10 is a big if, because we saw him play really well despite the fact that the offense was like game planned against himself. And so but now new coaching staff, new scheme, and the talent's there. Like, everyone knows Bijan Robinson is a freak athlete and this guy is supposed to be a tank. But we don't know what he's going to look like in this new offense.
But you know what I have hope in, and this is why I think that that's not actually that crazy. Like, I actually skipped over him because like that might make sense. If your defense is scheming to play against the Falcons now, you're not scheming against Desmond Ridder. You're scheming against Kirk Cousins. So you have to like just immediately respect what they have at receiver and at tight end and who's throwing the ball to them. And as soon as you have to lean that way a little bit more now, the run game can become scary. And he is a scary athlete who is literally so young still that it's like he's not in his prime yet physically. Like, he is not. So I could see that. But it is literally, like you said, it's like they have to utilize the weapons they have correctly, or all of these contracts and this crazy fucking draft will mean nothing. And
because they also have Tyler Algier, who is not a bad running back by any means.
But that's why, like, the 1-2 punch of them could be crazy.
Oh,
like, run a trips backfield, like literally have Kirk and then he's flanked by both of them, and you don't know what they're gonna do. But you have to respect all 3 of them, because Kirk can gun and both of those 2 guys can run. Like, you just it makes it fun though. Like, the Falcons should be fun to watch
for sure. And I will say 2 of the people I like seeing up here, because they were not anywhere near this close last year. Jahmyr Gibbs was still regarded as one of the top running backs coming out of the draft last season, but he wasn't that high because David Montgomery went to the Lions. And David Montgomery, especially in the beginning of the season, was taking most of the snaps. He was getting pretty much all the goal line snaps, which, like, I mean, Montgomery is a little bit sturdier of a guy. So obviously that's going to happen. And Montgomery actually looked pretty good after a shaky season in Chicago. So there was a lot of question marks there. Well, yeah.
We can, yeah.
There's a lot of question marks, but we knew Gibbs would be good in the passing game, but it was just a matter of like how good. And then once we saw him in like the second half of last season, now it's like shit.
Yeah, well, I like you hear what you were just saying, and it's like he was getting underused for like 8 games, and he still finished with 945 yards rushing, or like. And then 316 receiving, 11 overall touchdowns, 5.2 yards per carry on 182 attempts.
Insane.
Those are 90s numbers, man. Like, bro. And then you look at his side. Like, when you look at him, you hear 5'9", 200, and you picture a dude with a beer gut who's out of shape. You look at him, and you're like, his legs are just the size of trees. And his and his whole core, he has like 16 abs. You're like, yeah, you hit him and you feel like you just ran into a wall, even though he's like 6 inches shorter than you. He's a tank. But that's why I laugh, because it's like you didn't need David Montgomery. Right. Not really.
No.
Like, you have this dude who's just a specimen and can do it all. But I think it'll be smart for them to always maintain a duo that like they're not going to overload one of the guys, because obviously running back is just that one position where people just get, like, you know what I mean? Like, they get massacred more than most. So it's good that they have both. Like, that's their duo, and they can roll with that pretty happily. And like, it worked. But now, like, once they started using Gibbs more, I think now they realize, like, yeah, no, we can trust him with a lot.
Right.
Like, he was a rookie, and maybe we were hesitant to like give him too much, and you know what I mean? Give him, to get him in his head. Right. It's like, we know that's not a thing. His mental fortitude's strong. We can trust him. So I think there's opportunity for him to be insane this year, but
for sure. And the other one I like seeing up here, just because nobody had any idea this was coming, is Puka Nacua. Like,
yeah,
literally in fantasy, there's this random dynasty league I'm in. Just because I wanted to do like one on the side, and it's for only like $25 a season or whatever. And it's a 10-team league.
What was this on?
Sleeper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. You can like buy into leagues. I saw that.
Yeah. And we did like our startup draft. I think I got Puka Nacua in like I don't even know. I want to say like the 20-somethingth round of the startup draft, which now is like, that is absurd. There's no way you can do that. But at that point in time, let's see. Yeah, I got him the second pick in the 20th round of the startup draft. He finished last year in half PPR and PPR, the number 4 receiver overall.
Yep.
And I just want to let you know, the other wide receivers I have on my team, which he did outperform, I think, he technically outperformed all of them fantasy-wise. AJ Brown, Mike Evans, well, T. Higgins is an obvious one. Amari Cooper, Christian Watson, and I had Rashee Rice. Obviously, he had a good year last year, but we obviously know what happened with him now.
Well, yeah. Yes, we do.
And so all of those guys, Puka Nacua outperformed. I think the only 2 guys on my team I should say 3 guys on my team that he didn't outperform overall was Christian McCaffrey, Travis Etienne, and CJ Stroud. So Puka Nakua has been fucking awesome, and I can't wait to see what he does this year and see how that develops. But the only thing on this list that like I don't really agree with is the fact that Josh Allen is the top rated quarterback, just because who the hell is he throwing the ball to?
Well, every single year he's like always up there, and I'm always just like, I don't think so. Like,
it's just because of his rushing. That's the only.
I know, but I would still take Mahomes before him. I would still take Hurts before him because he's gonna get 12 tush pushes minimum in a season, like minimum.
True.
Like those two right off.
Him.
Yeah, and I would 100% take Stroud before him. Stroud looks literally just like he came in so poised and just ready for it.
Oh yeah.
And it never wavered. It just got better. It's like the Texans were so bad 2 years ago. Like so bad. They had no chance of doing jack shit. And then he comes in and they're like, "Nah, we're actually just going to win the division. Fuck just going to the playoffs. We're going to win the division, bro.
And win a playoff game.
And then the offseason, we're going to sign everybody and draft really well. And it's just going to be like, oh shit, guess what? Yeah. Like
I'm good now.
I drafted one team on ESPN just because I'd always do one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll rattle this off very quick because these don't have a lot of players, as we know. I got Christian McCaffrey, so stoked as shit about that. Jalen Hurts at QB. Kenneth Walker, Seattle, running back.
Okay.
My three wide receivers, because I have a receiver in the flex right now. I have Michael Pittman Jr., Devontae Smith, and Zay Flowers.
Okay.
Tight end, I have Evan Ingram, because that dude has had the career resurgence of a lifetime. Dolphins defense, just who fucking cares about the defense, dude? Dicker the kicker, Cameron Dicker from Chargers. And then the bench, Zamir White, Vegas' running back. Obviously, Jacobs is gone, so he's going to get a lot of that. Keenan Allen. My backup QB is Brock Purdy.
Okay.
And then it auto-draft. This is where I got pissed. I had to use the bathroom. It auto-drafted me. I'm not joking. Both Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. I was like, they're on the same fucking team, dude. Leave me alone.
One of them's going to be hurt, so.
I know, but and then the other two receivers at the moment are both Green Bay guys. I'm going to swap it. I just wanted to pick up Christian Watson, but I have Christian Watson and Romeo Dubes, but Dubes is going to get dropped because I think Christian Watson's better. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's just like a fun little team. But I'm going to do a dynasty. Obviously, we have ours that we need to fill up, but I'll probably do another one.
We'll fill
just
that
to
up
get
soon.
a feel.
We should do a best ball. Have you ever done a best ball?
No, was that?
So best ball is you draft your team. That's it. No drops, no ads, no trades, and it automatically takes the best scores at each position and throws them in your starting position once the week is over. And so it's literally just drafting, and then you just see how it goes. And if someone gets hurt, you don't get that guy's score for however long he's hurt.
Is that on Sleeper too, or is that on like anything?
Sleeper, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Best balls.
Do you want to like join a public one together or something? Like try and time it so we both get in?
Yeah. Oh, we can do that. I mean, we can even start one and open that up to the public too. I haven't opened up the Dynasty to the public yet because I'm waiting on a couple answers from people. So that's the only reason we haven't done that yet.
Yeah, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So yeah, best balls are really fun. A lot of people do it now too because they can just draft and then really not even care about it. So you just see if you won at the end of the season. I got third in a best ball that I did. You can either do free or paid. Everyone has like a website called League Safe, and it's just kind of like you pay League Safe and then the League Safe pays out whenever you win. But I did a rookie draft for that one dynasty league that I was saying my roster. So I did not have a third round pick. So this rookie draft in this league is 5 rounds. I did not have a third round pick, and I traded away my second round pick because I traded this year's second and next year's first to get Travis Etienne. And then I traded away my third round pick because I made a big deal in the beginning of the league to get Christian McCaffrey. I was in the spot where I had Bijan Robinson in the startup draft. So I traded Bijan, this year's third and next year's third, for McCaffrey, Christian Watson, a second round this year, a second round next year, and a fourth round next year. So I got some good shit for pretty much just Bijan Robinson.
Okay, here's a question. How the hell do you find a public league on Sleeper?
It's easier on your phone.
Okay, then I will do that on my phone.
Yeah, because they developed the app and then the website itself is just an afterthought, pretty much.
Got it. Yeah. That makes sense based on what I was just looking at.
Yeah.
For sure.
So in this year's rookie draft, I was last because I won the league last year. I got Brian Thomas with the 10th pick. And then I had the 7th round pick in the second round, or 7th pick in the second round, and I got AD Mitchell. And then didn't have a third round, so in the end of the 4th round, I got Bucky Irving. Shout out all the people that have watched the Bucky Irving video.
Yeah, all like 5,000 of you psychos watching my ass talk about some short dude who played for Oregon. Come on now.
We appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
And then the very last pick of the draft, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And I took Frank Gore Jr.
Yes, sir. I have a couple. Actually, hold on. I'll show you this. When I was at that bar, I like Saks was the one day. I just took my notebook in. Mm-hmm. My handwriting is horrendous. We have been over this, but this whole bottom part, are names I'm gonna do videos for.
Okay.
There's only like 5 red X's, so there's like 30 names here.
Damn.
And like for anybody who actually watches this, who watches the videos, I was starting with guys who may not have had more like notoriety, or at least trying.
Right.
Because that felt just better. Like, these guys are also going to be in the NFL. Here's who they are.
Right.
Like, we know who the fuck Caleb Williams is. The media has not stopped talking about him since like 2022. We know. I don't need to do that. Like,
true.
But obviously, like, as time goes on, like, I'll do Dallas Turner. He's a first round D end. Makes sense. Right. But fantasy wise too, it's like I wanted to do more offense than defense because I love doing fantasy, and it's like it's very rare to find a league where it allows you to actually choose defensive players for their stats.
Right.
Which, to be honest, I would love that shit.
Oh, we can definitely do that. I'm in a couple leagues like that, actually, where instead of a defensive team, there's IDPs.
Yeah, can you like invite me to one that isn't full? Because I need that.
For sure.
Like, I want to fucking pick corners that I know are just like ball hawks, and I want to pick linebackers that literally tackle more people than everyone else in the entire sport of football, but no one gives a shit because they're not sacks.
Oh, yeah.
So
the Dynasty League that I joined for the first time, which was with some friends to like kind of see what it was all about, we have, instead of defensive teams, you get 1 D lineman, 1 linebacker, 1 defensive back, and then an IDP flex.
Dude, I literally, my level of obsession with that, because like, oh fuck, the Rangers scored, as you can see. Like when I played like club football, I played safety. Like that was, I wanted to fucking hit people. That's, I had anger issues and I wanted to release that into people's chests. So I like when I watch football, obviously, like if my team has the rock, it's like, okay, we're watching offense now. When my team is on defense, I am glued to the screen. And it's like, it's a whole different thing.
I love
the mindset of like playing defense and everything. Like, I'm from Philly. It's like, what do you think I grew up with?
Yeah.
Like, I was literally in like pre-elementary, all of elementary, middle, and some of high school. We had Brian Dawkins, like Jeremiah Trotter, Javon Curse, Sheldon Brown murdering freaking Reggie Bush. Like, it literally, that was my whole childhood, was just Eagles defensive murderers. So,
oh, trust me, I'm right there with you with the Ravens.
and then he's got Hall of Famers galore. Like, that's the shit we love right there. So,
like, I did have Aaron Donald as my defensive lineman, but my backup now that he retired is actually Christian Wilkins.
East.
And then I have Nick Bolton as my linebacker.
Okay.
I have Cameron Curl, Trayvon Diggs, and Grant Delpit to switch as my defensive backs. And then I have Ernest Jones in my flex right now, but I also have Hassan Reddick. And then I do have Trayvon Walker because I drafted him at the very end of like one of the rookie drafts, but like I'm probably going to drop him soon.
Yeah.
Because I drafted Cansey, obviously my boy from Pitt. And I mean, dude already looked pretty good in very limited time in Tampa Bay. So hype about it.
Agreed.
Oh, I also drafted Trenton Simpson actually before anybody really knew who he was in last year's rookie draft. And now he's probably going to start alongside Roquan. So
hell yeah.
But yeah, we will definitely get an IDP in there. The IDP is still becoming more popular because people just don't want to have to worry about that on top of offensive players. However, I will give a shout out to the IDP show. There is a podcast and it's literally all about IDPs in fantasy football. And those guys go crazy deep into their statistics. I watch them or listen to them on Spotify all the time. So big fan of that too. But I think that's our last topic of the week.
The only thing I was going to add, because I think the last couple things we had, I'll just breeze them, was the potential best games of the year.
Oh, yeah.
And the best free agent signings. I just literally put little asterisks next to like one game for each week. And I will fly through this. So week 1, Ravens Chiefs, easy. Yep. That is just, it's a conference championship rematch. It's gotta be the best game. Week 2 is kind of like, it was a coin flip between Bengals Chiefs or Falcons Eagles. I'm gonna go Falcons Eagles.
I like that
because I think I'm more interested in seeing what the Falcons look like, especially against a team like the Eagles that has been solid. Week 3, Bears versus Colts is my choice. Caleb Williams versus Anthony Richardson. There's some other choices I think for you. You would have chosen easily Ravens versus Cowboys, because that's obviously got potential.
That should be a good one, yeah.
I chose the Ravens for week 4 because they're playing the Bills. That should be 100% stellar.
Rough.
Your schedule, yeah, it's what you get. That's the price of being good. Yeah, because week 5 you have the Bengals, but the game I chose for that was actually Bills Texans because CJ Stroud against obviously Josh Allen is 100%. Week 6, Lions versus Cowboys in Dallas.
Oh yeah,
all about that. Week 7, Super Bowl rematch, Chiefs versus 49ers. That's kind of a no-brainer. The backup to that would be Texans Packers.
Okay.
Stroud versus Love is probably going to be a very good game. Week 8. This week 8 was a tough one because you have Anthony Richardson versus Stroud for the first time this year. You have Eagles Bengals. But I'm gonna bite the bullet here and just say Cowboys 49ers because the hatred in that matchup through all time is
true.
It's on a level, so I'll give that credit.
The Cowboys want to say that they're up there, but like, are you actually up there?
Yep. Week 9, I'm gonna say Texans Jets, and that has multiple asterisks because it's if Rodgers is hurt. We're going to go ahead and revert this to Lions-Packers because obviously that matchup is just
Always a good division game.
Week 10. This one's the easiest one for me. Eagles, Cowboys. And then for you, it's perfect too, because Bengals, Ravens. So there you go. Week 11, I had to choose the Cowboys again because they're playing the Texans and all the CJ Stroud, Micah Parsons shit. Finally, they get to face each other. I need to see it. But the Chiefs also play the Bills that week too, so that'll also be perfect.
That's always a good one.
Week 12, I'm going to go Broncos, Raiders. I want to see Bo Nix versus the team that everybody thought would have taken him.
Okay.
To be honest, I want to watch that. And then for you, Ravens, Chargers, obviously the Harbaugh Bowl.
Of course.
It's back. Thanksgiving Thanksgiving's looking good. We got Bears, Lions, we got Dolphins, Packers. I don't give a shit about who the Cowboys play. I think it's not good. But then the Raiders play the Chiefs on Black Friday.
I like that.
Yeah, it's perfect. The Raiders on Black Friday. Come on.
Yeah.
It's perfect. But the game that wins for us, our game, that is the Eagles-Ravens.
100%. That'll be a good one.
Week 13. Week 14 is Kirk's revenge game. The Falcons travel to Minnesota.
Oh, God.
Week 15, the Bills will play the Lions in Detroit. So I chose that one. Week 16, the Texans play the Chiefs and the Lions play the Bears, so I gave them a tie. Week 17, the Ravens play the Texans and the Eagles play the Cowboys.
Jeez.
So that'll be a fun fucking week. And then for week 18, obviously at this point it depends on clinching situations, but the Bears play the Packers in Green Bay. Bengals play the Steelers. Dolphins play the Jets. Like, it's loaded, so there's potential.
I think the Ravens play the Browns that week too.
They do, because I put that one on there. I just didn't know, I'm like, if that division goes the way we think it will, the Browns might not be there because their quarterback situation's still unsure. However, they keep surprising us.
True.
And then I made one other short list. This is very short. That one was a little longer than this one for sure. Just the best signings of the offseason.
Yep.
So the Derrick Henry, you get him for 2 years, $16 million. That's just a toss up. I mean, like, literally,
hell yeah. That's
a freebie right there. I said Curtis Samuel to the Bills, 3 years, $24 million. I think they got a very, very consistent, reliable, solid receiver, especially after losing everything they lost. That is not a lot of money. Good player.
For sure.
I'll see if I missed anybody. I'll say Graham Glasgow to the Lions, 3 years, $20 million. They sure up guard a little bit more. Their O-line was already god tier, and now it's even better. Daniil Hunter, because the Texans just didn't miss. They fucking signed Joe Mixon. They signed Danico Autry. They went,
traded for Sundays.
They went berserk in free agency, and I have to give them credit for all that. Just they won free agency, period. And then I have to scroll down a little bit. Saquon to the Eagles. And then CJ Gardner-Johnson back to the Eagles. Literally just the amount of joy. John Runyon at guard to the Giants. 3 years, $30 million. That is a very good signing for a team that needs O-line. Leonard Floyd to the Niners. They obviously lost so much D-line. They needed somebody, and he has developed into a very consistent player. My second ranked team in free agency, though, at least as far as like making sure their guys didn't go anywhere, Tampa Bay.
True.
You lock up Baker, you lock up Mike Evans, and you lock up Antoine Winfield. The day I was making this list, they released the details on the Winfield. 4 years, $84 million for the statistically the best safety in football. No problems there. And then the final one, because I thought this was just smart. The Washington Commanders signing Austin Eckler for 2 years, 11.4.
Yeah, it's worth it just to take that flyer.
Literally, like that, 11.4 million for the potential that he can offer you, and you now have Jaden Daniels and not Sam Howell. I mean,
right?
Like, come on,
easy.
So yeah, those are my best. Obviously, there's There's like just so many, but
Yeah.
I think those
I
are
would
the
pretty
ones
much
that
agree with all those.
they're the ones you just look at and you go, okay, they're going to affect games.
Yeah.
Just period. Some way or another, if they're on the field, they're going to help you win. And their cap is not detrimental to the rest of your team's success or like the way it's built. So,
right.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, that is it here for us this week. Make sure everyone goes and checks out our NFL draft videos that Tom has been working on. There's now close to 30, right?
We got 35.
35.
Yes, sir.
Shit. Yeah, definitely check those out. Those have been popping off. We have plenty of guys to look through, especially the ones that you might not have known much about. So give those a check. We record this podcast pretty much once a week. So definitely be on the lookout for that. We are everywhere to get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff, even on Amazon Music, all that stuff. So make sure you check us out on there. Rate, review, and subscribe. That helps us out. And here on YouTube, if you like what you're watching, drop a like, hit subscribe, hit the bell. It lets you know when we go live with our latest episodes. And we appreciate it. So we will catch everyone next week then. Peace.